Welcome everyone. Here we are, back into the Book of Enoch. Just to get people, if this is the first one of these Enoch documentaries that you tuned into, we're going to go to Isaiah again. We're in chapter 40 in Isaiah, and this is what we're describing here. And this is described in the Bible. I read it on an earlier pod. But here it is again, Isaiah 40, and this is verse 21. It says, "Have ye not known, ? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning, ? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth?" 22. "It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in." All right, now that's a good description of what's being said here in Enoch. In Enoch, we're in chapter 75, and it's going over the layout as it was presented for thousands of years. People kept track of this great tent that we're under, and it was just described there in Isaiah. Okay, and so like I said, it goes way back to Babylon, and like I said, the Persians were very brilliant people in many ways, and they were very aware of the courses of the stars, even more than today. People don't have that kind of knowledge that was just prevalent back in the early world. Much of it was given to them by the angels, as we're getting that described to us thoroughly here in Enoch. And it's not just here in the Bible, and it's not just in Enoch. There's plenty of these histories chiseled in stone in lands across the firmament of the earth. So, but this is a good place to get it. It's being harmonized here with the Bible. Nothing here goes against the Bible. Okay, and there is a difference in the translation, of course. Nobody did a better job of translating than the people that were in the King James printing press era. They loved the Word of God, and it was off with your head if there was a word out of place. So, but R.H. Charles is the one we recommend, the translation. And he did a very good job. That's all we can say. So here in chapter 75, it says, and this is verse 1 in Enoch, it says, "And the leaders of the heads of the thousands, who are placed over the whole creation and over all the stars, have also to do with the 4 intercalary days." That's like a calendar. "Being inseparable from their office according to the reckoning of the year, and these render service on the 4 days which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year." 2, it says, "And owing to them men go wrong therein, for those luminaries truly render service on the world stations. 1 in the first portal, 1 in the 3rd portal of the heaven, 1 in the 4th portal, and 1 in the 6th portal. And the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations." In 3 it says, "For the signs and the times and the years and the days, the angel Uriel showed to me, whom the Lord of glory hath set forever over all the luminaries of the heaven, in the heaven and in the world, that they should rule on the face of the heaven and to be seen on earth. Okay, now this Uriel, if you're new to this podcast, Uriel is in the King James, one of the angels, no doubt about it. And obviously he's here in Enoch. All right. So, and to be seen on the earth, comma, and be leaders for the day and the night, i.e. the sun, moon, and stars, and all the ministering creatures that make their revolution in all the chariots of heaven. All right, now, like I said, this is the circle of the earth. Notice the revolution, okay, and that can be proven, as I've said on all these podcasts, with a time-delayed camera. It's perfect circular motions of the stars. In 4 it says, in like manner 12 doors Uriel showed me, open in the circumference of the sun's chariot in the heaven, through which the rays of the sun break forth, and from them is warmth diffused over the earth when they are opened at their appointed seasons. 5, and it says, and for the winds and the spirit of the dew, when they are opened, standing open in the heavens at the ends. Notice the ends there, and the ends are talked about throughout the Bible. 6, it says, as for the 12 portals in the heaven, at the end of the earth, out of which go forth the sun, moon, and stars, and all the works of the heaven in the east and in the west, there are many windows open to the left and right of them, and one window at its appointed season produces warmth, corresponding, as these do, in parentheses, to those doors from which the stars come forth according as he hath commanded them, and wherein they set corresponding to their number. And I saw chariots in the heaven running in the world, above those portals in which revolve the stars that never set. 9, it says, and one is larger than all the rest, and it is that makes its course through the entire world. Okay. So that being said, what about these chariots? And what about these windows? Do we have language like that in the Bible? Well, we certainly do. So let's investigate a little bit. We're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 2. 2 Kings chapter 2. Everybody, I'll give you a second to get there. And we're talking about the chariots of the heavens. Horses of heaven, chariots of horses. The angels are described like that. So here we are in 2 Kings. And we're in chapter 2. And we're going to start here with verse 9. Now this is Elisha. In a new paragraph mark in 9, it says, and it came to pass when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. 10, and he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. 11, and it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. 12, and Elijah saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them into pieces. So how do you like that for chariots? Okay, so that language is in the Bible. In fact, the 4 great cherubs themselves are called the chariots of horses. The ones there in Revelations and throughout the whole Bible, the white, the red, the black, and the pale, and is described as chariots of horses many times. Okay? So with that in mind, we're going to go to Malachi, the prophet Malachi. How do you like that, folks? And we're going to see about these windows. Okay? Is there language like that in the Bible? Well, sure there is. Sure there is. It ain't just there in Enoch. No. Here we are. Are you there, folks? Are you in chapter 3 in Malachi? Okay. And we're going to read verse 10 in chapter 3 in Malachi. And here the Israelites were robbing the tithes and cheating on the tithes to bring into the priests. And so listen to this language here in 10, as the Lord tells them to bring back you're thieving out of the temple of God here. It says, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. So how do you like that, folks? There's the windows and there's the chariots, and that's just 2 places. That's just 2 places where this language is used. These descriptions are used. Okay, so that being said, there was 2 good ones. And on we go into chapter 76, as we are describing the circular motion of the host of heaven and the circle of the earth and the foundation of the firmaments. In 76 it says, and at the ends of the earth I saw 12 portals open to all the quarters of the heaven, from which the winds go forth and blow over the earth. 3 of them are open on the face, i.e. the east of the heavens, and 3 in the west, and 3 on the right, i.e. the south of the heaven, and 3 on the left, i.e. the north. 3 and the 3 first are those of the east, and there are of the north, and 3 are, and it says, and 3 are of the north, and 3 after those on the left of the south, and 3 on the west. Though 4 of these come.
Through 4 of these.
It says in 4, it says, through 4 of these come winds of blessing and prosperity. And from those 8 come hurtful winds. When they are sent, they bring destruction on the earth, and on the water upon it, and on all who dwell thereon, and on everything which is in the water, and on the land. So you see who's controlling the weather here. Is it not God Almighty? Okay, and 5, and the first wind from those portals called the east wind comes forth through the first portal, which is in the east, inclining towards the south. From it come forth desolation, drought, heat, and destruction. And through the second portal in the middle comes what is fitting, and from it there come rain and fruitfulness, and prosperity and dew. And through the third portal, which lies toward the north, come cold and drought. 7, it says, and after these come forth the south winds through 3 portals. Through the first portal of them, inclining to the east, comes forth a hot wind. And through the middle portal, next to it, there come forth fragrant smells, and dew, and rain, and prosperity and health. How about that? 9, and through the third portal, lying to the west, come forth dew and rain, locusts, and desolation. And after these, the north winds from the 7th portal in the east come dew and rain, locusts, and desolation. In 11, it says, and from the middle portal come in a direct direction, health and rain and dew and prosperity. And through the third portal in the west come cloud and hoarfrost and snow and rain and dew and locusts. 12, and after these 4 are the west winds through the first portal. Adjoining the north come forth dew and hoarfrost and cold, snow, and frost. 13, and from the middle portal come forth dew and rain, prosperity and blessing. And through the last portal, which adjoins the south, come forth drought and desolation, and burning and destruction. 14, it says, and the 12 portals of the 4 quarters of the heaven are therewith completed, and all their laws and all their plagues and all their benefactions have I shown to thee, my son Methuselah. And that is the oldest living human being in our history, right there in Genesis. 77, and the first quarter is called the east, because it is the first, and the second the south, because the Most High will descend there. Yea, there is quite a special sense will he who is blessed forever descend. That would be Christ. 2, and the west quarter is named the diminished, because there all the luminaries of the heaven wane and go down. And on we go here in 3, it says, and the 4th quarter, named the north, is divided into 3 parts. The first of them is the dwelling of men. The second contains seas of water, and the abysses and forests and rivers and darkness and clouds. And the third part contains the garden of righteousness. Now here's the 7 mountains again, folks, that Rome says it's the city of 7 hills, and so does Jerusalem. And they named it after this. In 4 it says, and I saw 7 high mountains, higher than all the mountains which are on the earth, and thence comes forth hoarfrost, and days, seasons, and years pass away. I saw 7 rivers on the earth, larger than all the rivers. One of them, coming from the west, pours its waters into the great sea, and these 2 come from the north to the sea and pour their waters into the Aetherian sea in the east. And the remaining 4 come forth on the side of the north to their own sea, 2 of them to the Etherean Sea, and 2 into the great sea, and discharge themselves there, and some say into the desert. 7 great islands I saw in the sea and in the mainland, 2 in the mainland and 5 in the great sea. 78 we go on, and the names of the sun are the following: the first, or Jeras, and the second, Thomas, or Tomas. Second, and the moon has 4 names. The first name is Asun-Jah, the second, Ibla, the third, Ben-Az, and the fourth, Era. These are the 2 great luminaries. Their circumference, notice the circling, is like the circumference of the heaven, and the size of the circumference of both is alike. Okay, now, once again, there is the circle of the earth described that we read there in Isaiah at the start of this podcast. In the circumference of the sun, there are 7 portals of light, which are added to it more than to the moon, and in definite measures it is transferred till the 7th portion of the sun is exhausted. And they set and enter the portals of the west, and make their revolution by the north, and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the heaven. 6, and when the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the heaven. The light becomes full in her. On the 14th day she accomplishes her light. 7, and 15 parts of light are transferred to her till the 15th day, when her light is accomplished according to the sign of the year, and she becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by the addition of 14th parts. 8, and in her waning, the moon decreases on the first day to 14 parts of her light, on the second to 13 parts of light, on the third to 12, on the fourth to 11, on the fifth to 10, on the 6th to 9, on the 7th to 8, on the 8th to 7, on the 9th to 6, on the 10th to 5, on the 11th to 4, on the 12th to 3, on the 13th to 2, on the 14th to the half of the 7th, and all her remaining light disappears wholly on the 15th. And in certain months, the month of 29 days, and once 28. Okay, and 10, and Uriel showed me another law, when light is transferred to the moon, and on which side it is transferred to her by the sun. 11, during all the period during which the moon is growing in her light, she is transferring it to herself. When opposite to the sun during 14 days, her light is accomplished in the heaven. And when she is illumined throughout, her light is accomplished full in the heaven. 12, and on the first day she is called the new moon, for on that day the light rises upon her. 13, she becomes full moon exactly on the day when the sun sets in the west, and from the east she rises at night, and the moon shines the whole night through till the sun rises over against her, and the moon is seen over against the sun. Okay, on 14, on the side whence the light of the moon comes forth, there again she wanes till all the light vanishes, and all the days of the month are at an end, and her circumference is empty, void of light. And 3 months she makes of 30 days, and at her time she makes 3 months of 29 days each, in which she accomplishes her waning in the first period of time, and in the first portal for 177 days. And in the time of her going out, she appears for 3 months of 30 days each, and for 3 months she appears of 29 each, 17. At night she appears like a man for 20 days each time, and by day she appears like the heaven, and there is nothing else in her save her light. 79 here it says, and now, my son, I have shown thee everything, and the law of all the stars of the heaven is completed. And he showed me all the laws of these for every day, and for every season of bearing rule, and for every year, and for its going forth, and for the order prescribed to it, every month and every week, and the waning of the moon, which takes place in the sixth portal, for in this sixth portal her light is accomplished, and after that there is the beginning of the waning. And the waning which takes place in the first portal in its season, till 177 days are accomplished, reckoned according to weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. In 5 she falls behind the sun and the order of the stars, exactly 5 days in the course of one period. And when this place which thou seest has been traversed, such is the picture and sketch of every luminary, which Uriel, the archangel, who is the leader, showed unto me. How do you like that, folks? Now, we get into the next chapter, things are going to switch up to prophecy, okay? And that's where I do my best reading about prophecy, what I'm used to. So we'll get this up so everybody can study, and we'll see you over there in chapter 80. Bye-bye.